we give a clap? And Tommy, thank you very much for meeting us today.
Here we are in St Patrick's graveyard. It's probably the oldest edifice in the city. We honestly don't know. Behind me, we'll see the arches from the citadel that was built here in the 1600s as a fort.
Run it through again.
Go again.
Go again. We'll keep it rolling.
Here we are in St Patrick's Cemetery on Barrack Street. Behind me are the arches from the citadel. These were a communication with the city for the soldiers in the barracks in time of attack. These were most likely closed up and filled up sometime in the 1700s when it wasn't needed anymore as a communication with the city. That'll do.
Are you okay if I feed you a couple of questions?
Do, please.
And can you tell us about the history of the Garda station behind us there? Or the structure that was previously there a little bit?
Well, we see now. You're after catching me. When in the late 1700s, it was decided to move the barracks from behind me, from the citadel, over to where it is at present, the infantry barracks and artillery barracks in the Barrack Street area. This eventually was turned into a jail, and in the late 1700s, the famous architect Gandon built a courthouse here. So we had the city and county jails in there, along with the courthouse. The new courthouse was built in 1849 down at Catherine Street, and Gandon's courthouse was used as a playhouse theatre until approximately around about the 1860s, and it was knocked. It was a beautiful granite building. Unfortunately, it's gone forever. The new jail was built that incorporated the city and county jails, was built and opened in 1863. When the barracks was built, it was built slightly later than Duncannon Fort, and it was called the Citadel. It was a fort to protect the city. Now, what happened was we had St Patrick's Gate here, and the entrance to the actual Citadel was on Ballybricken. So in time of attack, the army would have had to march out the Citadel Gate and in St Patrick's Gate. So if there was an army there going to attack the town, they would have been slaughtered. So they had to have a communication with the city to bring the troops through. And at the time, this church was non-existent. It was just a shell of a building. So they were able to run the ordnance through the city to maybe get to Reginald's Tower, get to the river area, whatever, in time of attack. We know this for certain because Smith tells us that in his history of Waterford. Yes, inside the city walls, we had a myriad of parishes in Waterford. We had this one that we're in at the moment is St Patrick's. We also had St Stephen's, we had St Michael's, we had St Olaf's, we had St Peter's, and we had Trinity. Trinity within, and there's also Trinity without. That would be the present Ballybricken. Trinity within would have been the cathedral. Some of the churches have actually disappeared through progress. One in particular would be St Peter's, that was completely excavated and taken up to facilitate the building of City Square. So there's absolutely nothing of St Peter's left. There are some stones put together inside in a shop in City Square at present, but they bear no resemblance to the church ever. The graveyard is also gone.
Okay. So what are we looking at here behind us?
Here we are at the moment. We're in St Stephen's graveyard at the corner of St Stephen's Street and Newgate Street. This churchyard has recently been devegetated. It was like a jungle some time ago. Thanks to the Waterford Civic Trust, we managed to get the permission and we devegetated the area. So behind me would have been St Stephen's Church, and the church would have ran approximately along the graveyard here and out onto the road. The Board of Works had a scheme in 1846 and they took in the walls of this church and built the wall that's there at the moment. So the actual boundary of the church went out onto the middle of Newgate Street. at that time. The graveyard, the church we know was actually intact and in use in 1738, but with time the church has disappeared. I'm sure the walls of it and the foundations are still intact beneath us here at the moment. But this is what's left of St. Stephen's graveyard. Here we are in the laneway to the side of St. Stephen's Church and adjoining what is the remains of the Leper Hospital. Now the Leper Hospital we know was founded sometime around 1300. We're not too sure of the date, in and around this area. It wouldn't have actually been here on this spot. And the story goes that King John's sons were in Lismore on a holiday, and they had loads and loads and loads of salmon and venison, and they all turned yellow. And so their father thought that the boys had contracted leprosy. So he gave money to set up a leper hospital in Waterford. But it turned out the boys didn't. It was just from the rich food that they turned different colours, etc. And they were grand. But the Leper Hospital continued, and we have the building here on my left is what remains of the Leper Hospital intact here in Waterford. Now we know the Leper Hospital moved in the late 1700s to John's Hill, and it continued on to become the Fever Hospital, and then on to County and City Infirmary as we know today. But this complex consisted of the Leper Hospital, which ran up along here, and then we had Lord Tyrone's Infirmary, which was also a part of this complex, which is long gone. But luckily enough, we have the Leper House in situ at the moment, and hopefully we may be able to preserve it in some way when the new development comes. We know that Lord Tyrone invested 3,000 in the 1700s towards this Leper Hospital. Now where I'm standing at the moment is a laneway, and we believe it's the oldest intact laneway in the city of Waterford at present. It hasn't been altered from at least the year 1700. We're more or less certain of that. And this lane ran out onto Stephen Street, and this was the entrance way into the Leper Hospital. And to my left, the actual doorway into the hospital is still in existence.
The whole wall in shop. So what do we look at?
Yeah, here we have what we believe to be another entrance to the lower part of the Leper House. This has been blocked up a long time. The hatch there would have been added by the brewery over time, and I have to say, only for the brewery leased this property here, it would probably have been lost forever. But the brewery added on bits and pieces down the years. In fairness, they did destroy parts of the Leper House, but in doing so, they preserved it to what we have today. Above the doorway, we also have the ancient window into the Leper House. The only other example we have of these around are actually in Granny Castle. Right here we are at what was known as the Waterford City Basin. It was the water source for the city centre up until the Knockaderry scheme was introduced in the late 1870s. At one stage, this would have had a flow of about 150,000 gallons of water a day. Now the water was brought from a collection of streams on the other side of the city wall and brought subterraneanly to the basin, and then it was distributed at the opposite side of the basin where it was known as a fountain, and the people collected the water there, and it ran down gullies in the streets as well, keeping the place clean. But that was the main water source for the city at that time, as well as some wells.